Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm so happy you can be with us today. Oh, my dear friends, one of the most enjoyable things about our Seek Reality adventure together is that we get to meet so many people who are investigating the spiritual aspects of this material reality in their own unique and very different ways. And our guests today are yet more beautiful people who have devoted their lives to doing just that kind of exploration. And the fact that I don't really understand this time except everything that they're doing, exactly what they're doing. And I've been thinking about it, and I still don't really quite get it. But I have questions, too. Makes it even more fun. This sharing of my podcast with you is really sometimes a lot more fun for me than I think it is for you, but I think you're going to enjoy this one. Our guests today are two very, very accomplished people. Puran Bair is an American mystic. He's an author and the co-founder of I Am Heart, the School of Heart Rhythm Meditation. He developed HRM as a method of breathing and concentration that creates a coherent heart rhythm. It's based on an authentic method of Christian mysticism. Puran was a lead author with his partner Susanne, and they're with us both today, of the source book on this topic, Living from the Heart, Energize Your Heart, and Follow Your Heart. He's written extensively on the physiological benefits, which is great, of synchronizing your breathing to your heartbeats. And he's collaborated with researchers to demonstrate the visible light that's emitted by the heart and the extraordinary stress resilience created by HRM. He's also the co-creator of the Breath and Heart app for iPhones. They've done all this stuff. I mean, what have I been doing with my life? Golly. He has degrees in electrical engineering and computer science. He links the inner experience of mysticism to physics. Let me explain. I ask to know about these people, and I receive, whenever I get new guests, and these are new people to me, and they sent me all this information, and I want to share all of it with you. And we're still going to talk about Susanne as well. I just love this. Susanne is a pioneer in her focus on creating the culture of the heart, bringing about micro-communities of open, emotionally vulnerable, and safe spaces for people, micro-communities that aim to shift the larger culture in that direction. I'm going to, I think, cut short telling you about what they've done, to start asking them questions, but just let me to sort of summarize all of this and tell you that they've worked at this all over the world. She has taught widely in North America, Europe, East Asia. She gives private retreats, group retreats, seminars, keynote conference presentations. She holds a master's in counseling, psychology, and advanced degrees, clinical experiences at the University of Vienna. She was a theater director also in the State Theater of Basel, Switzerland. My dear friends, welcome. I am thrilled to have you with us. I'm glad you can give us this much time.
We're thrilled to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
Hello, Roberta.
You don't look old enough to have done all this stuff.
Oh, goodness. Thank you.
I'm 81 and she's 72.
Well, so you don't look that age, either one of you.
We're not youngsters.
My darlings, thank you for being with us. And I have looked through your book, but I don't understand how you can use the heart this way. But how, briefly, how are you able to use your hearts in meditation? And can you explain briefly how this works? Is there a brief way to do that so we can then get into the fun of how it works?
Well, Roberta simply said, meditation is not an easy science. It's not easy to do. We
Right.
have met a lot of people who say to us, meditation is impossible to do. And the reason people say this is for two reasons. Most of the times, people don't take time to learn meditation. They
Right.
don't know how wonderful, important, transformational, and how much meditation can change the personality of a human being and come to an incredible insightfulness and knowing why we are here, what we are doing, and who we are. This is the source and the core of meditation. So the difficulty is time. The other one is that most of the time when you start meditating, and all meditation techniques or tools include breathing. But when you breathe and you don't have a focus, meditation carries you all around, in particular around in your mind, or you leave the body. Those are the two different kinds of meditation that we are familiar with that don't work, because then you are not here. If you want to be here and experience reality in the here and now and in the afterlife and in the life before, you have to have an anchor in the here and now. And that anchor is the heart. So the heart is really essential to have a focus. You know, the physical heart has the great advantage that it has a rhythm and it has a sound. When you do heart rhythm meditation and you really connect with your heart, you know that you are in your body and that you have something to focus on. Even if you don't feel your heart or experience your heart in the beginning, you know you have a heart. And by just focusing inward into your body, into your heart, eventually your heartbeat, the lub-dub of your heart will show. And the rhythm of the heart is very, very essential. We know this because in this very busy, crazy world, a lot of people have heart rhythm problems. They have arrhythmia, they need ablations, and they have a lot of problems with the heart. When you do heart rhythm meditation and you start focusing on the heart, your heart actually calms down. Because the breath that we use in heart rhythm meditation is very slow, full, and deep. So most of us have to learn how to breathe, because usually when people breathe, they're breathing too fast and they're breathing unconsciously. And some meditations use the unconscious breath. They sort of get carried away. In heart rhythm meditation, we focus on the breath and we make the breath with our physical body slow, full, and deep. And there's a technique to that, Roberta.
So you teach this breathing technique, which in turn influences the heart
Yes.
rhythm,
Yes.
and that creates a better meditation than we can get in any other way.
Yeah, it creates an integration of the various levels of self. So I understand you're interested in the afterlife.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And
I'm an expert on that.
yeah, well, we are too. And meditation comes from there. Meditation started in Egypt, as far as we can tell. The Egyptians were very interested in the afterlife. But they didn't want to, I mean, in order to explore it, they needed a way to experience it. So they developed a meditation that brought them as close to death as they could get and still come back. And that then evolved into India and became a meditation called samadhi, which is very transcendent, and it is intended that one leaves the body so as to experience that spiritual life which is not constrained by physical form. So a meditation was developed to do that. And again, it takes one as close to death as you can get. You know, the brain waves go almost flat, what's called a delta wave. It's very, very, very slow.
Yes, yes.
And then the heart becomes very subdued. It hardly beats. And one hardly breathes. So there's hardly any physical sensation of life. Now, this is where meditation started because of the interest in the afterlife. But when things changed 2,000 years ago, when a new version, a new idea about spirituality came through, it came through Jesus. And he said, no, look, the point is not to go backwards. The point is, back to the source where we came from. The point is to go forward and accomplish your purpose in life.
Yes.
So the meditation and the whole spirituality changed. And that's where we come in. This meditation is a Western method where we are very concerned about going forward, what's called point omega instead of point alpha. Point alpha is the beginning where everybody comes from.
Uh-huh.
Omega is the point where we're trying to reach. It's a reunion. It's a place where we bring it all together, and that requires the heart. It requires the body, and it requires body consciousness, a lot of energy, because to wake up in this way is like you need a lot of energy. You don't want. It's not at all like sleeping. It's like waking up. And the heart is the energy source in the body, so the heart is essential to this waking up.
So does this help your heart to be stronger? Does it help you to live longer? What does it do for is it better for your heart?
Yeah. It has a lot of
give you
benefits.
More control over your heart? How does it?
We actually have research on this on our website where we did peer-reviewed research with Penn State University, and we showed what the effect is on the nervous system and on the heart by causing this regularity of rhythm. So when the heart gets out of rhythm, the whole body's out of rhythm. The heart is the timekeeper for the body.
Yeah.
So when it's irregular, everything's irregular.
Yes.
And it's important to get that back. And what we can't control the heart directly, but we can control the breath, absolutely. And the breath controls the heart. It's through a biological mechanism called RSA that the heart takes its signals from the breath. The breath can influence the heart. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do. We teach that breathing, you see. And that breathing is, like Susanne said, it's slow and deep and big, a lot of breath. Whereas the earlier meditations that were trying to go backwards to point alpha, they use a very little breath because they're trying to simulate death. See, so very little breath. And the heart actually stops in that meditation. Now, I had an experience of this with a doctor in Boston. I was doing that kind of what we call alpha meditation, which is like Buddhist meditation, where you try to roll the wheel backwards and go back to the origin. And I was doing this meditation. He had me hooked up to instruments so he could tell what was happening in my body, and he was alarmed when he realized that my heart had stopped.
Oh dear.
I didn't feel that because I wasn't in my body. I don't do this method anymore. I'm telling you, this is like the origins. This is where meditation comes from.
Right.
But I could go into meditation and stop my heart, and I'd come out of meditation, and I'd be fine, and I'd go into meditation again. And actually, the body, it's not dangerous. It's because in that kind of meditation, you're so opened up that you don't really need a heartbeat. And this is the method of experiencing what is death like. You see, it's as close as you can get. You don't feel any sensation. You don't even feel self, and so you're floating in in infinite space. It's interesting, but what's it have to do with life? It isn't very good for life. It's very hard on your relationships to be blissed out and transcendent and not caring about anything.
Right.
That's not what relationships are about.
That's right.
It wasn't good for my career either. So when our teacher asked us to start a new school, and we learned these things. But he said, well, try again, make a new school, use the heart, use science, use those instruments that measure things. And with Susanna's background in clinical psychology, see, we had a good head start. My background is in science, so I have the instruments and she has the method. And we developed this. Well, actually, we didn't develop it. We discovered it, that this method comes from, it's a meditation that was used by the early Christian followers, what the people called the Desert Fathers. They did this meditation on the heart, you see, on the heart, because it's this new approach, this new objective is to make life work instead of trying to experience death.
Now that you had a guru, and I didn't try to pronounce his name. How is his name pronounced?
Pir Inayat Khan, and he's a well-known sage and mystic. He had written many books, and we were very, very excited to meet him. He had an enormous experience base. And he taught all kinds of meditation. And one of the things he taught was what we do, but he taught many, many other things as well. And we said, no, we don't need that. We just need this method of the heart.
Yes. Wow. And your website is going to be given at the bottom of the information that will go with this episode. So no one needs to drive off the road who's listening to this. It will be there in the materials.
Right. That one.
Yes. Oh, and we also are giving it at the bottom of this. If you're seeing this, you will have that there as well. But it will be also given in the right up at the bottom of the of this episode. And so how then did you decide you were going to be able to find a way to share this with the world as you came together and you started to make sense of all of this? You said, wow, this is something we really have to share. When was this all happening in your lives?
Well, it was in the early 90s or late 80s we started this. And what was very interesting, because we think, that this is a very simple meditation, because everybody has a breath, everybody has a heart, right?
Oh, excellent. That's a very excellent point, right? My dear.
And it's both of these. You need your breath and you need your heart to be alive. As a matter of fact, the heartbeat is the first sound that a baby hears in the mother's womb.
Oh, yes.
And whenever a person dies, we look for the last heartbeat.
Yes.
Right? So as long as the heart beats, we are in this life, in this physical life.
That's right.
Right? So these are sort of the life forces in this physical life. And so what we do in this heart rhythm meditation, we put those two life forces together. And there's a skill to it, it does not come right away. For some people it does. We have taught this to so many thousands of people that we can say for some people they can do it right away. But for most people, we first teach them how to breathe. Because people breathe all the time. We cannot live without breathing, right? But our breathing patterns, Roberta, they change very much. When you have a newborn baby, we just have a new grandchild. She is now 6 days old.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
That's so great. I'm so happy for you. What a wonderful time of your life.
We are happy for the parents. We can just visit it occasionally. But that little baby, when you hold it, it breathes with their whole body. It doesn't breathe just up here, in this little part.
Yeah.
And the older we get, Roberta, the more we breathe, the less we breathe, right? The oxygen intake really slows down with age. And so what we teach in heart rhythm meditation, we have a way to breathe where we not only breathe in and out through the nose, but we help and try to train people to come to a full breath, to breathe as deeply, as fully as they can. And for that, we use the body, the abdominal muscles, the muscles below the belly button.
Yeah.
And those muscles you can contract and expand. And when you contract and expand those muscles, what happens that the diaphragm muscle that is actually going horizontally through the body, that moves up and down and moves the lungs. You know, the lungs, when the diaphragm muscle moves down, the lungs can expand much more and vice versa.
Right.
So
That's
there's
right.
a real breathing technique in there. So we use a posture in meditation, just like in all meditations. We sit on chairs or upright, and then we start becoming aware that we are breathing. You know, just the awareness of your conscious breath. If, Roberta, you can try this out right now. If you become aware how shallow your everyday breath is, and it's not a judgment. My everyday breath is shallow.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
a little breath goes in and out, right? Just we breathe as much as we need. But that breath that we have every day is actually already, especially at our age, very much shut down because our emotional body holds on to all the different kinds of emotions and traumas, and our breath gets less and less shallow. And even at old age, we can have a full breath. And what happens when this breath is connected with the heart, where the emotional body is very present in the heart, then we can actually cleanse and purify the emotional body. And our breath, this kind of cleansing comes through the breath. That way we stay young, beautiful, and healthy because of the emotional body, Roberta. And the important thing is, for example, we know through, we haven't done research on that, but we worked with a lot of people. The physical heart health is much stronger when you breathe fully, and because the emotions clear, and the core or the underlying problem of heart attacks is emotions,
That's right.
uncleared emotions.
Yeah.
And the question is, how do you clear these emotions? And it is through this kind of heart rhythm meditation that you bring the energy of the breath into the heart. See, it's
Goodness.
the energy of the breath. So this is the interesting thing. So we're working physically, breathing, inhaling and exhaling, feeling the heartbeat and connecting breath and heart. But what happens to the heart, that the heart experiences the energy of the breath. And that energy changes the emotion and purifies the emotion, the traumas that we hold in the heart.
My goodness, that's a fascinating concept.
Yep. No, it's not just a concept. It's an experience, Roberta. People really experience, they start crying and the heart opens and they start laughing, because when the heart is open, the heart goes more deep emotionally and the heart goes more high. You can become ecstatic and joyful, and you can feel for others, have a lot of compassion and be with them instead of being.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I can certainly see that. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the beginnings of heart rhythm meditation. So to learn how to connect breath and heart and experience that and create a healthy heart. And then you feel the energy, and then you move through 9 steps of personality development.
Wow, that's wonderful. So when people go on retreats and things with you, this is the kind of thing you do with them. You help them to grow in these ways. That's quite addicting. I'm sure they would more and more want to do more of that with you. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned what happens about growing older. Does this help you remain vital as you grow older? So what happens in the brain itself is that as one ages, the gray matter of the brain actually shrinks
Oh,
normally.
sure.
But if you meditate, it doesn't have to shrink. So the gray matter of the brain can stay, without getting lost. And then also, as we age, we breathe less and less. Like Susanna said, people go into a very shallow breathing, mostly because they're trying to avoid all the emotions and traumas that have developed over their whole life, and they want to just have a nice life, just
On
everything
the
easy
surface
and
of it. Yeah.
smooth. So people are avoiding their heart, and they do that by breathing very little. And that is a major cause of aging. When you don't have enough breath in the body suffers from not enough oxygen in the tissues, and it begins to age faster. So it's important to breathe more than we are typically doing, and don't allow age to make your breath little. And when you're young, you breathe a lot more. And when you exercise, you breathe more. And when you're excited, you breathe more.
Yeah.
So breathe. He's saying that's really important. But then not only breathe more, but breathe in a rhythm so that when a rhythmic breathing causes the heart to be rhythmic. The heart catches the rhythm of the breath. So when the heart is rhythmic, the whole body becomes rhythmic. All the systems of the body work together because they're in rhythm with each other. And that rhythm is set by the heart. Right? So it is really an excellent anti-aging method.
I would think exercising would be very good when you're older too, for the same reason, because you get, I mean, my daughter and I have a daughter who is early 40s, and she and I get out there and she runs and I get on my tricycle and we really exercise every day. And that I think it's good to do that. I mean,
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm puffing a lot and she's puffing a lot. We do that every day. I think that's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you breathe more.
Yeah, yeah.
And breathing is good.
Wait, you don't get out of breath, but you certainly do a lot of breathing. That's for
But the
sure.
question is, do you get, when you do all this breathing, that's the thing with exercise. People do not get in touch with their heart.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we think that's the key, Roberta.
She's
Breathing.
monitoring her heart. She said, oh, she got her heart up to a maximum of something when she was running. There I am on my trike right beside her, going as fast as I can go, which I think is good.
Yeah, there is nothing. Well, do you know, the thing is like, I might disappoint you, Roberta, because I have seen, I mean, we actually have one woman, she just joined the school, and she came to the school because her husband had a quadruple bypass. And he had that quadruple bypass while he was exercising. She said, we do not understand it. This man exercises every day 2 hours, an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. He is an exercise maniac and he has a quadruple bypass. How do you explain that?
Well, I think that our hearts do need that kind of surgery. I've already had one, one of those whatever implant things that they have to do. And so I'm under the care of a cardiologist. I'll see him again in the winter. I'll probably need another one of those too. Our hearts need that kind of attention. So I don't mind that. They do they do this surgery as nothing now. I mean, I when I had this surgery, they used to do it, they had to crack open your chest. It was major, major stuff. They do this surgery through your leg.
How we know that?
Oh, it's amazing. They go
Yeah.
in through an artery or something, a vein up through your leg, and the doctors are playing a video game, and you can see the doctors playing a video game. I was waiting for them to start the surgery, and finally, and some guy, they didn't even give me anesthesia. Some guy standing beside me saying, don't move, don't move, because I had had no surgery, no anesthesia, nothing.
Wow.
Finally, the doctor came up to talk to me, and I said, when are they going to start? He laughed at me, and he said, I'm going to show you before and after pictures. And he showed me, I had had one artery that was almost totally blocked. And now it was totally open. They had put in a stent or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
how they do that kind of surgery now. It's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
And he said to me, we're going to discharge you today if you want to. We'd like to keep you overnight. But understand you've just had open heart surgery. So take care of yourself. Well, I want you to know I was raring to go the next day. I wanted to back out there on my tricycle right now. It was amazing. And ever since I had that surgery, I have been raring to go. I feel 40 years old. So that's now what used to be major open heart surgery.
yeah, we work with a lot of cardiologists because the cardiology uh, um, industry is now, really looking for preventative methods. How do you help people not get to that point, where stents are necessary, or drugs that open up the cholesterol blockages, and because those things all have side effects, and they're all major interventions in the body. But it's good they exist. But still, the point is, how do we prevent? How do we have
If they
preventive
have
care?
to do it, it's
Yeah,
a good thing.
yeah, yeah.
I went from being someone who was having trouble with my exercising at that point. It gradually came over me. I had the surgery just over a year ago. And when I had the surgery, I suddenly became 40 years old again.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how amazing it is now.
right.
And I didn't even know, I didn't even know it was happening. And I walked out of that hospital 40 years old. So if they have to have it, if people have to have it, tell them go in there and have it because it is nothing now, nothing.
Right. That's good.
And it's like a miracle. And now I go out there and I exercise with my daughter who's in her 40s. She runs. I pedal on my trike and it's the best. It's the best.
But see, there's still something missing here, and that is to be in touch with the emotional body. Because when you're in touch with the emotional body, the heart does that work itself. One doesn't need the stents and all. That's our experience. Do you know what I mean?
I feel fine.
It's, of course,
If
of course,
have
when
to
you,
have it, it's great.
yeah.
I truly don't think I'm any less for having had to have that fixed. And they told me they cut it so early that it hadn't even hardened. It hadn't even solidified. They just pushed it out of the way and it's
Yeah.
fine.
So I'm interested in what happens towards the end of life when we begin to, sort of reevaluate what's our life been about so far? What have we accomplished? And this gets really intense at the last stage of life where we're perhaps on our deathbed and we begin to think like, well, what have I done in my life? And Elizabeth Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, you may know that name. She
Oh,
she
sure.
studied dying, and she said when people get to that point, they often have regret that they didn't do the one thing that they really wanted to do. They maybe did many things, but if they don't do the one thing, and for each person, it's a question: what is that one thing? What's that thing that your life really was about? In a sense, we feel that before one is born, we're given an assignment. We're volunteering for some reason to be here, and then that memory, that impression of what our life was supposed to be about, sort of gets buried by the busyness and the interests and the bright shiny objects of the world. And so we sort of lose our way, but it's always still there, and we're always beginning to, trying to remember, why are we here? What was I given to do? And so it's a recurring theme, and it comes back really strong at the end of life, like, oh, now I remember. Did I do it? And what have I contributed to that? So this is what we want to help people with, is to remember that early,
Absolutely wonderful if you
when
can
they can still
know
do
what
something
that
about it.
was. Yes.
Yeah. And the heart knows. The brain doesn't remember. The brain is just not capable of remembering this deep impression that was given before the brain existed.
Hmm.
but it's stored in the heart. And the heart, when you go into the heart with heart rhythm meditation, you find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes very clear and very strong. Like, it's the aha experience. I know what it is I have to do. And oftentimes that's a kind of painful moment because you think, well, I haven't done any of that so far. I have to reorient myself to get on that track. But still, hey, there's time. There's still time. So that later period of life can be most meaningful and rewarding because we have the resources that we developed from our earlier life, and now we know what they're for.
Yes. That's why it's so important for people to try to get in touch with their spirit guides because they also
Yes,
can help them understand what it was they came here to do.
yes,
I mean, my guide has certainly beaten me over the head very hard to remind
good,
me
good,
what I was supposed to do.
good,
So I've been working on that for a long time.
excellent.
I had the experience, which I found is very interesting. I'm not sure if people on your podcast or yourself had these experiences, maybe with your spirit guide. But I had a sister who passed early in her life for whatever reasons, and the two of us were very close. And for the next 20 years, I mean, it's now more like 35 years ago that she passed. But for the next 20 years of my life here on earth, I had contact with her through dreams.
How lovely.
And she would, it wouldn't be like every day or every month, but like once a year or sometimes every 2 years, she was like, here I am. And she shared with me where she was and what experiences she had. And it was like this, the way she shared it was like that I was with her in her place. It was very, very, fascinating. And
That's lovely.
she went in the afterlife through transformation. And that she shared with me through the dreams. And it was that the rooms that she was in changed. The atmosphere changed. The
Yeah.
light changed. The objects that were in the space or in the area changed. Till she came, this was the last dream I had about her. And then that dream, she said, now she was on a bridge. It looked like a bridge out of glass or out of some see-through material. And the space was very, very vast. It was like out in the universe. It looked like that to me in my dream. And there was this huge bridge, see-through, and she was on that bridge, very colorful and full of light. And she said, this is the last time I visit you. I'm going over this bridge, and when I go over this bridge, I won't be able to see you anymore. I'm in a different space. And so since then, I have not seen her anymore. But, we are sort of still connected, of course, but in a very different way than the first 20 years.
Yeah. But
So it was
she
to me,
probably was ascended to a different level
yes,
of reality. That's
yes,
quite
yeah.
beautiful.
But it took quite some time for her to go through these stages, and those were stages in the afterlife.
Yes.
That's what is very fascinating to us, because in our school, in our meditation school, we actually teach about stages of
Yes.
realization in the afterlife, Roberta.
Yes. Yes.
So,
We have a
We never
classical,
stop growing. We continue to grow.
yeah, we have a classical background, so we're talking about things that have been talked about forever. 7 levels of reality, and
That's what we teach too.
of course,
We understand.
and so you start from the physical body, and then you have the mental body, and then you have the energetic body, and then so on, and the soul, and so on. So those are the first several, but then the higher stages are about where you're beginning to lose the sense of self and gain emerging into the universe, and there are many levels of that. So, so this is something we don't want to just study. We want to experience these things. We want a meditation in our meditations to go through these levels of reality and experience each one.
Well, I think when we come into this world, we put most of our vast eternal minds into what Mikey Morgan, who is he's a sixth level being, and he communicates with us now from there. He says that we put most of our vast eternal minds into a suitcase and store them away until we return to the afterlife. So we really can't comprehend all that we will really understand when we return back to the afterlife. And I think one of the things we don't really understand is all of what happens when we return back to the afterlife. It's beyond our ability to understand with our very efficient minds, more limited minds that we have when we're here. And I accept that. I accept that it's more complex than what we can understand from here. It's sort of as if we live here in 3 dimensions, but really there we need to be able to think in 6 or 7 dimensions at once, and we just can't do that yet. But we will. We'll be able to, and it will be easy.
Well, see, the mystics have experienced that all of those levels are present in life. That everything that you ever will be in the afterlife is present in us now. So it's possible for us to go to those places that we can't have access through mentally. We don't have access to it in our normal consciousness, but we can change our consciousness by changing energy and go to those places and experience what it's going to be like.
They tell us that, but I'm not sure they even understood that. Because yes, we can go to the astral. While our bodies sleep here, we can, the silver cord extends to the end of the universe, the one that keeps us attached to our bodies. It can extend. We can go there while our bodies sleep. But still, we don't have access to the part of our mind that we packed away into what Mikey Morgan calls a suitcase until we return to the afterlife.
Well, I think the afterlife is here. I've been there, and it's a beautiful thing. It's present all the time.
My spirit guide has taken me on little trips.
Use your heart,
but you still only have your earth mind. You still don't get to reach back in that suitcase.
Yeah, you don't need your mind at all for it because the mind is much too limited for that. There's so many experiences that are beyond the mind.
Mm-hmm.
We listened to a neurologist at a conference where we were presenting, and he was presenting, and he told this story about a woman who had an aneurysm in her brain, and they wanted to operate on her brain and clamp the blood vessels so that it wasn't bleeding anymore because it was bleeding in the brain. In order to do that, they had to if they had just operated, they would have made more bleeding. So they had to stop her heart. And they actually slowed down her body temperature down to 60 degrees as a body temperature.
They do that.
And stopped the heart. Okay, so then they did the operation. But the amazing thing was that after the operation, she was able to remember sounds which had happened during the operation when she was actually dead. Her heart was stopped. The brain waves were
dead,
gone.
But it was as if she were, her body was in that state.
The body was in that state, right. And she had consciousness.
Mm-hmm,
she was aware of what was happening.
Yep.
So there are real medical experiments now, where people are validating what the mystics have always told us about.
Their consciousness is totally fine. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. It's amazing. Oh my God. I just noticed the time. We have so gone over our time. Oh my dear. I just find the two of you so delightful, so perfectly delightful. It's so lovely to talk with you.
Wonderful.
It's very nice to talk with you, Roberta.
I'd love to do this again. This has been great. But the thing is, there's so much to be explored that we have not very few people even have begun to explore about consciousness. It turns out, from what afterlife researchers have discovered, nothing else exists except consciousness. Actually, the greatest quantum scientists already came to understand this was true. Nothing else exists but consciousness. We can't, as they said, we cannot get behind consciousness. That's all there is. But the materialist scientists will never accept that. They won't, no matter what. So there's a lot of interesting sort of battling that's about to go on in the field of materialist science, because they're still trying to find a source of consciousness in the human brain. And for that, as you say, from that little experiment, we have a lot of laughter to be expended at them when they conduct their foolish search for consciousness and its source in the human brain. Of course, it doesn't come from there at all.
Right.
But nonetheless, what would you like our listeners to take away from our conversation today?
If they'd like to try meditation, I would recommend that they meditate with the heart, because it doesn't have to turn anything off. You're just trying to turn on the heart, not turn off anything. And so it's a method which is very old, which is Western, and we have been teaching this for 40 years, and we're happy to share it on our website, which is iamheart.org, and /gift will take you to a place where you get a lot of free access to these meditations and our method. There's an app for the cell phones. It's called Breath and Heart, the app. It's free, and it has a feature in it where it beeps every time your heart beeps, so you can be in touch with your heart more easily, maybe, than you could by sensing it in yourself. We also have research about how this has affected the hearts of people and improved their heart health. So lots of things there on our website, iamheart.org.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
But my dear friends, we've come to the end of our time. This has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm happy you could be with us today, but please never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began and you never will end. And when you understand everything that means, it's going to change your whole life for the better. Next week, our guest will be Michael Goddard. He has been with us in the past. This will be his 5th time with us. He's a thoughtful mystic and writer who has written several really good books, and the last of which, In Search of Lost Lives, I liked so much that I gave him a little write-up about it. And I would do that for more people, but I just don't have the time. But dear Michael, he was persistent, and I'm going to be really looking forward also to seeing him next week, and I hope you'll join us as well. This week we've been talking with Puran Bair and Susanne Bair. They're, as you can see, fascinating people. And what they're doing is potentially really, I think, wonderful, because so many of us sort of skim along the top of life, the edge of life, and then as they insist, we do that toward the latter part of our lives because we don't want to delve into what's in our hearts. We're afraid maybe to see it, and we shorten our lives thereby. We actually age our bodies by doing that. And I think, going to them, going deeper into what our bodies are doing and getting rid of some of the garbage that's in our hearts maybe will help us to live longer lives. I think that's a very good thing to do. So I urge you to maybe think about going to that website and seeing what you can find out about what's going on in your heart too. We also should mention here that our dear friend Craig Hogan is the president and guru of Seek Reality Online. You're going to live forever, whether you live in that body or whether you live in the afterlife. So you may as well learn about the afterlife while you're here so you can kind of hit the ground running when you get there. And really, that's all the time we have. There are other things I could talk about, but meanwhile, please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you in particular, most of all in this entire universe, you are infinitely, eternally, perfectly, and forever loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.